So one of the hardest things my students need to figure out how to do is how to write effectively. Before I was a teacher, I did PR for 7 years. So I literally wrote professionally. And the biggest takeaway I learned about writing is that you need to be as simple and as clear as possible. That's true in AP writing as well, is you shouldn't try to get fancy. You shouldn't try to prove that you're clever. When you do that, your writing often becomes more obtuse and it's harder for the reader to really know what you're trying to convey. Writing isn't magic. It's being simple, direct, so that people know exactly what you're trying to say and they have a clear call to action on what they need to do. So the most effective way I've figured out to teach students how to write is using skill drills. And I've already given you different videos to go through the different historical reasoning processes. And so what we're really going to focus on to prove you can do that is to write thesis statements. And one of the biggest things I need to help you understand is you're not writing history. You're not writing a story. You're always going to be arguing. Plenty of people have written just kind of the history. You need to argue a specific point and have evidence to back it up. So a good thesis statement always has some sort of periodization or time component, so we know when we're talking. It has some sort of place, region, state, something, so we know where we're talking. And it always is going to have stuff that is specific to help prove your point, to prove your argument. And we use inspect things to make sure that we're hitting the right areas. So a bad example here would be during ancient times, Asia underwent important political transformations that led to social and religious change. Way too general, way too story-like. A much better example would be this. Although both shared a desire for salvation, the development of Hinduism and Buddhism in South Asia during the classical era differed in their view of the caste system and their support by government officials. Much more specific, much more of an argument. So the next level you need to get to after you can do that is whenever possible, you should use multiple causes, multiple effects. Always think in multiples, because if you do that, both your short answer questions and your essays will have a real clear framework on where they need to go. You'll be able to do the test quicker and you'll do it more effectively. The other thing we're going to do is we always need at least two sentences here that are not connected with each other, so we can practice each specific sub-skill. This is going to make you think more deeply, and with connections, it'll make it easier for you to remember in the future. So when you look at your paper, it'll look like this. So it'll be handwritten, and you'll have your name and period, you'll have the chapter number and title, create Cornell Notes tab here, and you've got the different historical reasoning skills, and we're marking off cause, effect, change, continuity, similarity, difference, big context, and local context. The other thing I need you to do is I need you to actually use that right margin. If your paper doesn't have one, just draw one in, that's totally fine, and don't go past it. If we take the test by hand, there's going to be margins that if you go over, they're not going to be able to grade it. So when we take a look here, causation, of course, has cause and effect, comparison, and again, with comparison, try to do two separate chapters, not with them, if at all possible. Have similarities and differences, change in continuities, and then contextualization is the one that's a little different than the others. For the big context, you can go ahead and just copy one of the big context sentences that either I've given you in a worksheet or we've created together as a class. And then the local context is going to be you showing how what was in that chapter directly links to the big context. And with that, you're well on your way to be a good writer. Good luck, guys. See you later.